Welcome to my channel. So you all know that this is June and June is Men's Health Month. So you all know that I have a heart and a passion for boys, and so this is going to parlay into that. But I hear so many moms, so many wives, so many women talk about how difficult it is to get their husbands, their sons, their grown sons to go to the doctor. And so I want to give you 3 tips on how you can start now while your sons are young, focusing on health and getting them to not become grown men who don't want to go to the doctor. And one of those ways is, wait a minute, before I even tell you that, can y'all believe that we are halfway through 2025? It is June. I know I'm a little bit off topic, but I just had to say, I can't believe that we are halfway through the year. Okay, so getting back to the point at hand, one of the things that is very important when you take your son to the doctor, get him involved in the conversation with his doctor, with the pediatrician, talking about his health, talking about his concerns. And so maybe you have a conversation with him before you get in the doctor's office and asking him, does he have any questions? Does he have any concerns? To write them down. Because what I have found, oftentimes we'll go to the doctor and my son will then leave out the doctor and start asking me questions. And I'm like, we just left the doctor's office. I don't know. You should ask the doctor. So one of the things that I have started doing is having conversations with them before we go to the doctor. So whatever things that they have questions about on their body or anything dealing with their health, they're able to talk to the doctor themselves. And so getting them involved in the conversation. My older son is very slim. And one of the things that the doctor shared with him is that he needs to eat consistently, right? If you don't eat, that affects your growth. And so once they had that conversation and she was like, you can stunt your growth. And, if you don't eat more, you might be at this height. Oh my gosh. He has been all about eating, right? Because he's like, oh no, I don't want to be that height. And so getting him involved in the conversation has, for us, it's made a world of difference. And I think it would do the same for your sons. 2, so we want to get them involved in the conversation. And then 2, talking to them about the importance, not only talking to them about the importance, but also modeling, but talking to them about the importance of what they're putting in their bodies, like what they're eating. So, just like I'm sure your sons love junk food, my sons do too. And so I talk to them about cholesterol. I talk to them about high blood pressure. I talk to them about the history of high blood pressure and cholesterol and those kind of things that are already in our family, so they know they have a predisposition. So talking to your child about what they're putting in their bodies, because you don't, just because something is genetic doesn't mean that it has to that your sons have to have the same thing, right? Because what are you eating, right? Are you eating the same things that, maybe your dad ate or, maybe your grandparents ate? You can change that to some degree. So talking to them about what they're eating and how it can impact them and how it has impacted others in our family. So that is one way. That's another way. And then lastly, modeling for them eating healthy, right? Which I know it can be so difficult, but I think it's important that they see how to eat, right? Because that's how you learn. When you fix food for them, making sure that, they have protein and calling it what it is. Okay, this is protein. This is what you need to be eating. A vegetable, green vegetables. And so what does this look like? And then if maybe if it's a potato, now there's a difference between white potatoes and sweet potatoes. So things like that, and talking to them about it, but also modeling it for them. So when you are fixing food for them, you are giving them things that are nutritious. So yes. So in order to, prevent this whole discrepancy about men going to the doctor and, it being such a struggle, I think if we start talking to them early about health and why it's important, and not just physical health, right? Because boys tend to focus on, strength training and what they look like and wanting to build muscle because they don't want to be so skinny. And so they tend to focus on the physical aspect and not all the time the nutritious aspect and why that's important. So I encourage you to maybe just even have a conversation with your son about food. And he doesn't have to be 12. He can be 5, right? Start talking to him about food groups. He's learning some of this stuff at school anyway. So when you start with the end in mind, it will pay off later. So couple of things that I want to share. Check out the latest episode of the podcast where we're talking about screen time and creating boundaries around screen time for our sons. And so that's the latest episode. So be sure to check out the Raising Sons podcast. It will be below. If you want to hear about things that we have going on, because we have an event that is coming up in August. Yay! And it is for moms and sons. And so that will be, join our newsletter so you can get more information about that and you can get tapped in. And check out the devotional. It is on YouVersion, and I will put a link down below so that you can do that as well. If you have questions or comments or thoughts, drop them below. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time.